Hello students, welcome to computer science class. So in the last class we had seen about generation of computers. So how many generations? There were 5 generations. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation and fifth generation. So in last class we had seen how computer originated and how it got developed. In this class we will see about the classification of computers. Information can be stored and processed in number of ways. A computer may be digital or analog. They do not have some principle in common, but they employ different types of data representation and are in general suited to different kind of work. So computers, they are of different representations and they are suited for different kinds of work. Now different kinds of work means some computers are used only for calculation, some computers are used only for games, some computers are used only for programming. So there are different kinds, they are used for different tasks. The way computers process the information can be broadly classified into 3 categories. They are analog computers, digital computers and hybrid computers. Before seeing that, we will see how computer is classified by means of construction and working, usage, size and capability, area of application, number of users. So, under construction and working, that is, in different ways the computer can work, I said. It can be used for gaming. So, there are some computers which is well suited for gaming, and there are some computers which is well suited for programming, and some for movies like shooting. You know about movie shooting. So how they shoot each single clip and then they combine all the clips and make a movie. So there are some computers suited for movie only. So that is, we classify it based on construction and working. So in construction and working there are 3 types, that is analog, digital and hybrid. And the next classification is usage. So based on usage, some computers we use generally, like in school labs we have, any student can use. There is no restriction that students must not touch this or that. Any students can use. And some may use for special purpose, like in schools there are, in school office also there are computers, but students are not allowed to touch that because it includes some documents which are official ones. So under usage we classify as special purpose, general purpose. Next classification is size and capability. In size and capability, you have microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer and supercomputer. So micro means, as we say size and capability, here it is, we classify it seeing the size of the computer. So if the computer is big, then we name it as supercomputer. A small computer is named as microcomputer. A computer bigger than a microcomputer is named as mini computer, and slight more sized, big sized computer is named as mainframe. And the next classification is area of application. So here area of application, it can be business, it can be scientific. So the computers which are used for scientific purposes are different than the computers which are used for business purposes. And the last is number of users. So there you have single and multi-network. So single means the computers which we have in our labs or which we have in our schools. There what happens, one student at a time uses that computer, or one person will use the computer in his home, that is single. Multi-network means, you might know about cybers, where there are many computers and all the computers are connected to each other. It is like if you send one information or if you download any printout in one computer, you can view it in any of the other computers. So it is all connected. That is known as multi-network, where many people can use the same computer. Now let's see the classification based on principles of operation. That is, according to principles of data handling, computers are classified into three types. That is, analog computers, digital computers, and hybrid computers. In analog computers, continuous quantities are used. Computations are carried out with physical quantities such as voltage, length, current, temperature, etc. The devices that measure such quantities are called analog devices. For example, voltmeter, ammeter, and thermometer. Analog computers operate by measuring rather than counting. The main advantage of analog computers is all the calculation take place in parallel, and hence these are faster. As analog information is mechanical, it possesses limited accuracy. There are electronic analog computers generally used in chemical plants monitoring temperatures, pressure, voltage, etc. So analog computers are mainly used in monitoring temperatures, pressure, voltage, etc. So the devices also used are voltmeter, ammeter, thermometer. These devices are also known as analog devices. So these features are included in the computer, and then it is known as analog computer. You can see the analog computer in the picture, and you can see the analog graph, how the values are taken out. Next is digital computers. The digital computers works upon discontinuous data. They convert the data into digits, that is binary digits, zeros and ones, and all operations carried out on these digits at extreme fast rates. A digital computer basically knows how to count the digits and add the digits. Digital computers are much faster than analog computers and far more accurate. Computers used for business and scientific applications are digital computers. So, in business and scientific applications, digital computers are used, and digital computers are also classified as purpose-wise and size and performance-wise. That is, all the micro computers, mini computers, mainframe computers, supercomputers, laptops, desktops, these are all digital computers. So these use the binary number, that is 0 and 1. So you should know that the computer cannot understand the human language. The computer can only understand 0 and 1. So whatever we type, it will be converted to zeros and ones and given to the computer. This you will study this in later classes. So for now, you must know that what does the digital computer will do. It will convert the data into zeros and ones. Data means all whatever we type, a unprocessed fact or some values, pictures, text, anything whatever is given to the computer, it will be converted to zeros and ones, and then it will be given to the computer for performing the operation. Hybrid computers. So what is hybrid computers? Hybrid computers, it is a combination of both analog and digital. So they accept both analog and digital data for processing. In these computers, some calculations take place in analog manner and rest of them take place in digital manner. Hybrid computers are best used in hospital, where analog part is responsible for measurement of patient's heartbeat, blood pressure, temperature and other vital signs, and then the operation is carried out in digital fashion to monitor patient's vital signs. Hybrid computers are also used in weather forecasting. So, Hybrid computers are used in hospitals. You might know about ECG. So to take while the ECG is taken, you get one sheet in which something kind of graphs will be there. So it is generated using the analog computer. So hybrid computers are used there, which will generate analog as well as digital values. So here you can see the difference between analog and digital. So the analog, it operates on continuous values of data. Digital operates on discrete or discontinuous values of data. They give only approximate results. The analog, the digital give accurate result. So in analog, graphs are obtained where you can assume that the result will be from this range to this range. But in digital, you get the exact result. In analog, the processing is slow. In digital, the processing is fast. And in analog, it is very limited use. We can use it very limitedly, only for certain purposes. But in digital, it is versatile, which means you can use it as much as you want. There is no limit that you have to use only in such or limited cases. They have small memory and less reliable. So analog has small memory. So it has memory space is very less. And you know, if we have phone with less memory, then we feel very sick about it, because you always get the problem of storage full. So here also in analog, it has very less memory. So it is very headachy or difficult to use the computer. But in digital, you have large memory. So you might know in digital computers, the normal computers what we use in labs, so there are nearly 500 GB or 300 GB space in the computers. The next is classification of computers based on configuration. So configuration, here it means the performance, the size, cost, capacity of the computers are classified. Using that, the computers are classified. Seeing the size of the computer, seeing the cost, seeing its capacity. And the digital computers are classified. Not the analog computers. The digital computers are classified on the basis of configuration. That is size, cost and capacity. So there are 4 types, that is microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe computers and supercomputers. First we'll see microcomputers. So in microcomputers, desktop computers, portable computers, handheld computers, these come under microcomputers. It is also known as PC, that is personal computer. This is the most prevalent form of computer, sitting on a standard desktop. Today's PCs are single processor systems which can perform simple tasks such as word processing or spreadsheet calculations, or demanding tasks such as graphics rendering. The first PC was built by IBM. So microcomputers first PC was developed by IBM. Today's PCs are built by variety of vendors such as Dell, Gateway and HP, or by savvy users who build their own customized PCs using their preferred components. So the uses of microcomputers, they are cheap and user friendly. Their operation can be easily learned by anyone having logical aptitude. They are used as desktops either in offices or even in homes. Children enjoy playing games and watching movies in these computers. So the examples of microcomputers are desktops, that is PC, Macintosh, laptops, notebooks, tablets, palm tops, smartphones, etc. So these are all the example of microcomputers. Next is mini computer. This type of computer is usually designed for real-time dedicated applications or as high performance multiple user applications. Today's typical mini computer is a multiprocessor system running some flavor of Unix for an operating system. So mini computers were introduced in 1960s. Mini computer is larger and more powerful than microcomputer. It can execute 5 million instructions per second. It generally consists of 2 or more processors. Mini computer can serve up to 4,000 connected users simultaneously. It is normally accessed by users via personal computer or terminal. A device with a monitor and keyboard is called terminal. So you can see the pictures of mini computers. So the uses of mini computers, they are often used by small and medium-sized companies to provide centralized store of information. They are used for data processing. Next is mainframe computers. Applications which require high performance or generate and process large number of transactions are generally hosted on mainframes. As an example, you can imagine the large amount of transactions that the major bank would have to process on a daily basis. To process high volumes of ATM, check and electronic transactions, most major banks rely heavily on mainframes. The most popular manufacturer of mainframes is IBM, whose recently introduced S390 mainframe runs at 126 million instructions per second in a single processor configuration. So mainframes are mainly used by banks because we know banks have huge transactions. Banks has to do huge transactions. They have to, like, if there is one bank and it has branches in various locations. For example, if we consider Mangalore only, SBI Bank has many branches in Mangalore itself, and in Karnataka there might be many branches. Even all over India there are lot of branches of SBI. So all these accounts, all these transactions must be maintained, and for this purpose it cannot be maintained by using one computer, because all over the world's accounts, transactions, bill generation, ATMs, check generation, everything must be maintained. So this cannot be done by a small computer, microcomputer or mini computer. For that purpose, mainframe computers are used. So you can see the picture of mainframe computers. It is not that these computers does not have in our houses. We can't keep these computers in our houses. It will be kept in some companies and the data will be connected to that computers through internet. And it will be like there are many mainframes you can see in one more picture, and each mainframe will be allotted to each different owners, and it will be maintained by some particular companies. So IBM is the company which has developed mainframes at the first. I hope you are clear with mainframe, where it is used. It is used in banks mainly. It's not that it is only used in banks, but one example of mainframe is it is used in banks to maintain huge number of transactions. So it is used, mainframe is used when we need large storage space capacity is required, or when we need to maintain all over India or all over Karnataka such kind of huge transactions. what is the uses of mainframe? Mainframe were introduced in 1975 and they are very powerful compared to mini computers, and it has multiple processors. We saw that microcomputer and mini computer has one or two processors, but mainframe has multiple processors. So mainframe computers are used in large organizations. They are big computer systems sensitive to temperature and humidity, dust. They have wide range of peripherals attached and they have large storage capacity. They can use a wide variety of softwares. Now let's see about supercomputers. Supercomputers are designed for ultra high performance tasks such as weather analysis, encryption cracking, and creation of animation. Supercomputers are large, expensive, massively parallel processing bits, usually owned by government agencies or large corporations. It is generally accepted fact that National Security Agency houses a number of supercomputers dedicated to code breaking and intelligence gathering. Examples of supercomputers are IBM's Deep Blue, which defeated world chess champion Garry Kasparov, and Silicon Graphics Crystalline. And Param 8000 was India's first supercomputer, and supercomputers were used in weather forecasting, animated graphics like Hollywood movies, nuclear energy research, space science, weapons and missile design, petroleum exploration, etc. So, supercomputers are very large compared to mainframes. So, these are used by either the government or by any of the large organizations. So, government of course uses supercomputers only because there are lot of data the government has to maintain with security. So, for this purpose, supercomputer is used in which the data of all over the India is stored. Any information of India, it is stored in the government supercomputer. Again, there are different nations and different nations use their own supercomputers where their data will be stored. And we all know we use social networks such as Facebook, Instagram. So these data, whatever we post, they are not stored in our phone. Now you might think where these data is stored. So whatever you post, you can view it when you open your account, even in Gmail or even in Drive. When you put your data, it will be stored somewhere, it will be stored in cloud, we say it will be stored in Drive, but where is it actually stored? Now let's take the example of Facebook. We post something in Facebook or in Instagram, we make our post, and whenever we open our account, we can see the post. But these, even though you uninstall your Instagram and if you reinstall it again when you log into your account, your post will be as it is. It won't get deleted. So this post will be stored somewhere, and for this purpose supercomputers are used. So using supercomputers, you can store the data of your place where you post in your place to different countries. So whatever you have posted, it is not that it is in your area only, it is stored somewhere in your area. No, it is stored somewhere in different country. So there are many supercomputers in various different countries, and the data what we post, it might be stored in various different countries. We don't know where it is stored actually. So the supercomputer is most sophisticated, complex and advanced computer. So though it is stored in different countries, it is not that the people of that country or the person who maintains that can view that. No, the data is secure, but it is stored in some other place in the supercomputer which resides in different countries. So this was about supercomputers and the classification based on configuration. The next is application of computers. This is the last concept of this chapter. That is overview of computer. The last concept of the chapter, overview of computers. So applications of computer means the users of computers. That is where the computers are used. After learning the entire lesson, now you might be knowing where the computers are used. So the computers are used in schools, colleges, and in banks, in offices, in government offices, stock control in business firms. So it is used in business to control the stock for the stock exchange. It is used in research and developments in the research fields. Research fields means what? To finding. Research means finding something new. So you might have heard about NASA, ISRO. So these are the scientific research organizations. So these use various computers. Next is entertainment and news. So we know about entertainment and news. So to entertainment, where movies, games. So for these purposes also computers are used. News, we watch the news. We can watch in computer also, in TV also. So here also computers are used. Satellite communication. That is, what is satellite communication? That is connecting to the satellite. How we can get the information of different places. For example, if it is raining, we get the picture of particular areas, that is we get from satellites. So through satellites we can take the pictures of various places. Leave about various places. If you go to Google, that is if you open Google Chrome and if you type map, you can see your locations. You can see the maps of your location. So how it is obtained? It is obtained through satellites. So for that purpose computers are used. That is satellite communication, where computers communicate with satellite. Next is publishing. Publishing is printing textbooks, printing books, any kind of printing related to text. Travel. So computers are also used in travel purposes. And computer aided manufacturing. That is, here computer aided manufacturing means design. You might know about house designings, car designings. So these are all done using the computer aided designing software, CAD software, and that concept is known as computer aided manufacturing. So for this purpose also computer is used. And the last is hospital. So we know that in hospital the computers are used not only in reception, even the doctors use the computers to know the X-ray details, scanning details. So all this can be viewed through computers. So these are the various applications, that is various places where the computers are used. Nowadays there is no place where computers are not there. Every place will have a computer. So you can see the picture in education field, in medical field, science field, business field, and you can see here in your supermarkets, in bus ticket booking, railway ticket booking, in hospitals you can see how the doctors do the operation seeing the computer. And even in the dress shops, common shops also has the computer. So this is the applications of computer. So this will be the end of the first chapter, that is overview of computers. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you.